Hello and welcome to the Summernats podcast, the official show of the world's wildest car festival. My name's Josh Bennis, aka J-Benz, and I'm joined by my mate, car judge extraordinaire, Owen Webb, aka Webby. Webby, what's been happening over Easter, mate?
Plenty actually, Josh. I'm still been working on my car as I was last week, and I'm nearly done. Actually, I would be done if I didn't have to prepare for this professional show.
There's so much to organise, mate, to make a slick show like this happen,
Yeah, no, it was really good. I actually enjoyed getting together and getting all that stuff organised. And, mate, I had a really interesting week because after we spoke last week at the end of the show, you said it's made that comment about it's okay not to be okay. So I thought about that. So this week I picked up the phone, chatted to a few of people that I really appreciate their time and had a great catch up. And a couple of them's not doing so great. So a big shout out this week to Chick, who's going through a bit of a tough time.
Yeah, what a legend. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't do much over Easter, mate. I built a bit of a because I thought we were going to be in lockdown for 20 years, so I bought a steering wheel and a set of pedals for my Xbox, and I got that. And my friends were sending me all these racing sim rigs online that were way more money than I wanted to spend. So I built one myself out of some spotted gum hardwood decking that I had left over, and and an old VL seat that I had lying around. So got pretty handy spinning a spanner there. So that was a bit of fun.
Fantastic. Next week, I'm going to show you a photo of my car finished out cruising. So hopefully out cruising. Might be just a little drive around the block. So all good.
I wish I could say the same. I'm probably a few years away from finishing anything I got in the shed, I reckon, mate.
All good.
All right. One of the things of this show is at the moment, it doesn't actually have a name. So we're really keen to see what you guys think in the comments. Let us know. Give us some ideas. Anything, crazy ideas, whatever you got. Let us know in the comments and get that stuff going. All right, towards the end of this podcast, we'll be crossing to Marv from Street Machine to have a quick chat about what's happening there and to hear this week's rant from him. I'm sure he's had something boiling up like crazy. I mean, how good was last week's rant about Facebook Marketplace, Webby?
Yeah, mate, we've all been there, haven't we?
We've all dealt with some people there selling dodgy spas or who knows what's going on there, eh?
Or it's just people that think they know everything.
Tonight we've got a cracking show. First off the rank is Steve Nogas, who won Burnout Masters title at Summernats 30. Then we'll speak to Warbird Mark Waddington from the Rod Shop, and then we've got car nut boxer and AFL Premiership winning champion Barry Hall. As you can see, we've got some big hitting, pardon the pun, guests tonight. I'm all over these puns, Webby. Make sure you get busy in the comments tonight, as we'll be picking some people from these comments in the quiz to go participate in the quiz. Where we're going to give away some season passes and stuff like that. Also, people will be chosen from the comments that Marv's will give away a Street Machine pack and a double pass, as well as 3 other single season passes. All right, we're going to throw to a short ad break, and we'll be back with Steve Nogas after this.
Street Machine. If you don't read Street Machine, follow their YouTube channel or visit their website for great content. What are you doing with your life? Nothing. That's what you're doing. For all the latest on all things Street Machine, visit your local newsagent, buy a magazine subscription on their website now. They got all sorts of mad stuff. Turbo taxis, LS powered MX-5s, and the best street machines Australia has to offer. Do it now. Oil change, rattle gun, gaskets, a battery, disc brakes, spark plugs? What do you need? Burson Auto Parts have more than 180 auto parts stores in Australia. They've been in the game for around 50 years. Don't turn up at Summernats in January with a box. Get that sorted, mate. Get your car fixed, repaired, ready to smash skids. You don't want to blow a wheel bearing on Skid Row, eh? You want to smash tyres like a mad dog. If you need help, call 1300 Burson or visit burson.com.au. Now.
All right, we're back. We're back after our super high budget, expensive ads. We have with us Steve Nogas. Steve, what's happening, mate? You're holding up well in lockdown?
Yeah, holding up really well. Thanks for having us, guys. Good to touch base with the people in the car world. Obviously, everyone's in the same situation at the moment, so it's good to have an opportunity to have a bit of a chat about all things cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is, Steve. So great, and thanks for joining us. So I've got a few questions I want to fire at you.
Sure.
And everybody absolutely loves a redemption story, so I reckon you've got one of the best ever. You're the only guy I know to receive a lifetime ban from Summernats, then actually come back and win Burnout Masters. So I want to know what was going through your mind on that day back in 2012?
Well, back in 2012, I was sitting in the the start line there. Used to start at the other end back in those days. In about 40-degree heat, 3 hours or so, because we didn't get tickets like you do now and time slots and whatever else. And then someone comes up to me and said, "You're disqualified." And I go, "Why am I disqualified?" Because you didn't obey the track officials on the Friday for qualifying. So, cut a long story short, went and seen the officials. They said, "No, you're disqualified. Bring your car down, drive it up through the gate. We'll open the gate. Don't turn right to go onto the burnout pad." And away you go. There was a little bit of language involved on both sides. And I thought that that was pretty unfair, because everyone had 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, to come and approach me and say, "Well, this is what happened," or present a case. So then I go, "Well, I'm not going straight out the gate. I'm turning right and going to go on the burnout pad." So sitting there for a while, sitting there for a while, contemplating what I was going to do. A lot of things running through my mind. Obviously everyone's saying, "Don't skid, don't skid, don't skid." Am I going to stop here and protest about, being disqualified? Am I just going to drive calmly to the middle of the pad and protest being disqualified? It got the better of me, and I go, "No, I'm just going to do my burnout," and away I went, and the rest is history.
It sure isn't. Yeah. So if you were disqualified for banned for life, how did you actually get back in?
Well, over the next few days, the social media exploded, and everybody's messaging me, and it was all getting a bit out of hand, and there was a bit of an altercation with one of the officials there, which people were sending me, crazy messages at the end of the day. You know what I mean? People wanted to go around to his house and, do all this crazy stuff. And I got in touch with Summernats, and I said, "Well, this can go either two ways. We can try and, calm it down and get the story out there and make it a respectable, scenario, or I can put petrol on the fire and we can watch this thing burn." So, after everybody calmed down and sort of looked at the situation that happened, and, two wrongs don't make a right, and sort of I wasn't purely right, and, the decision that they made potentially wasn't purely right. I apologised for what I'd done. I copped my then 1 year suspension on the chin, sat out for 1 year, and then I was welcomed back.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you contacted me just after that, and you told me, or you actually sent me a pic. You were building this brand new model Camaro, and I thought, this guy's crazy. He's got a brand new Camaro and going to do a burnout car, and obviously that changed the whole scene, didn't it? Tell us how that all came about. Yeah.
Well, we sort of, at the time of that incident at Summernats there, the Camaro's already in the build. The reason why Camaro come up, because we wanted to do something different that nobody had in the scene, and nobody had a really late model car as late a model as the Camaro was.
Right.
A friend of mine, Joe from Motorcars International, he imports and converts American cars from left to right-hand drive. So we got together with him, and he said, "We'll get a Camaro, we'll get one from the auctions." So we sourced that car from the auctions in Milwaukee. It was an ex-renter car. It had 19,000 miles on it. And, when you look at it and people go, you cut up back then a Camaro was $130,000 if you went and bought one off the shelf or from an importer that's converting them to right-hand drive. But that car cost us just under $20,000 US, which at the time the conversion rate was $1.05. So it was like about $18,500. If you went and bought a Tirana or a Falcon, a Holden HT or something, you're probably going to spend 25 grand on the body, and it's going to look average.
Yeah. So massive wow factor with that, though. Massive.
Exactly right, and that's what we thought. It's going to have a massive wow factor, and there was cars out there that had 22-inch wheels on it, so we put 24-inch wheels on it. There was cars out there that had 1471 superchargers on it. We put 1671 supercharger on it. So we just wanted to take it to that next step. The interior was, the car was, I would like to say, obviously there's bigger and nicer show cars out there, but we sort of tried to get it to a level and to a degree where it was, a respectable show car as well as a burnout car.
100%. I remember we unveiled it, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. Obviously I spoke to you and sort of said, what's the criteria? Are we going to qualify? Is the car going to be good enough? Gary Myers was also debuting his car that year as well, the Mustang that he's still got, I assume. And it worked out fantastic. They were back to back there in Sydney. They both got unveiled, and the response and the people that seen the car really, really loved it.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Can you remember doing your first skid in it?
I do, actually. The first skid we'd done was in Shepparton at Les Adams' show. We actually hit the fence first time out, just give the wall a bit of a tap. So
nice.
It was unbelievable times. A lot of people said to me, "Oh, you'll never skid it. You've built the car. Now that you've got your car done, it's going to be too nice to skid." But no, it was always built as a skid car, and that's where it sort of ended up.
Was it originally yellow as well?
Yeah, it was yellow because the idea from when we first done the car, we specifically bought a yellow car because we wanted to do it like Bumblebee.
Yeah.
And that was a thing. But then last minute, we sort of got this idea of going flat black and having it as, Bumblebee's evil brother Killer Bee. And that's sort of the line that we sort of, went with. And the flat black, wrap, obviously thanks to 3M and Motoractive for their contribution for all that side of it as well. The car, like when it was on the cover of Street Machine and some of the photos that weren't in Street Machine, but we've got personally, the car looks awesome in that flat vinyl wrap.
Yeah, it was absolutely killer, mate. So most people obviously know of you and heard about you on the burnout scene. Just a little bit about, tell us what you do outside the car scene. What do you do for work?
So I've got, we run a limousine business in Melbourne called Crystal Limousines, Crystal with a K. We've got a fleet of 8 limos. We've got a Rolls-Royce Phantom, so the only stretch Rolls-Royce Phantom in Australia. We've got a few Hummers. We've got a Bentley Continental stretch. Mercedes and a couple of Chrysler 300C. So we've been doing that for about 15 years, coming up to 15 years. So, so that's what we do. Obviously, with the situation at the moment, the work is zero at the moment. I've sat at home the last 3 weeks. All my bookings are postponing and transferring to later in the year, early next year, which doesn't help with cash flow now. But I'm sure there's people out there in a worse position than what I am.
Webby's Phantom's also at home doing nothing. It's not doing much.
Yeah, exactly. And mate, I've got a question for you now, and if you don't want to tell me the answer to this, you got to sing a "Mary Had a Little Lamb" for me, all right? You don't want to answer this.
I'll have to remember if I remember that nursery rhyme.
There with your business, because you actually picked up Ryan from West Coast Customs for me when we brought him out for MotorX. And many people have seen him on TV. So I actually want you to tell us what he's really like when you're driving around in your limo.
Well, actually, he's a really nice guy. I've driven plenty of stars around over the years in the limos. And, they all come across and have a perception that, whether they're a really nice guy, really bad guy, not whatever it may be. But Ryan was a really nice guy. He sort of, took the time to have a chat with us, had the time to take a few photos in front of the limo with us. It was really good. I was quite surprised of the time that he had for me, where he could have quite easily treated me just like a driver. And I'm sure he's been in the back of 1,000 limos over his journey. But no, he was a really nice guy. Yeah, he even said to me, if you're ever over in the States and you're around where he runs his business from, come down, remind me that you're the limo driver that picked me up from the airport, and I'll give you a private tour around his shop there in I think it's in LA or wherever it is. Yeah, so I'll give you a private tour around the shop in any time. So he didn't have to say that. You know what I mean? He could have just shook my hand and said thanks very much. See you later.
Yeah, no, that's good. He was good, and I didn't really want to hear you sing anyway, so that's good.
So it worked out for the best.
What I want to do now is, Jack, will you roll that video? We'll have a quick look at that. You winning the Burnout Masters.
To turn 50 later this week. hails from Werribee in Victoria, and wouldn't he love to just cap off that birthday in fine style? A big milestone for him. Imagine if he can get the job done here today and become the Burnout Master.
Real good guy, real family man. His sons are involved in the sport as well. For B&R Engines, instant smoke from Killer B. And that contrast of blue and yellow looks amazing.
I'll tell you what, Bumblebee from Transformers could only dream of being this badass. This thing is wild. Big blue plumes of smoke out the back. The fans love this car. It's one of the most popular, and he cruises it as well. Drops the occasional little skid up Tough Street. It's an absolute weapon. He has had trouble during the qualifiers around the country keeping the blower belt on this car. It shreds it occasionally. It's huge RPM and a massive workload. Yesterday that blower belt survived. He needs another, 20 seconds from that belt right now.
That's another problem he's had. He's keeping tyres on the back of this car. Over 60 seconds. It is just ferocious. 632 cubic inches of big block Chevrolet 1471 supercharger. And man, this thing would make a lot more power than the majority of cars in this field today.
Bang on a minute. And I mean bang on a minute because that was one of the tyres going. He's got one more to go. What an absolute weapon this thing is. Bought it from Milwaukee in the USA, brought it back and built it into a burnout car across 18 months. Gee, this second tyre is really dragging out.
He'll be stoked about that though. He'll know that he's kicked the curse of banging tyres under a minute. Of course, runs with support from the Rod Shop, the people that are bringing us our burnout pit here this weekend. Castlemaine Rod Shop. So, still doesn't have the second tyre off, or has he done that now? Hard to see.
It is worth points getting both tyres down. It is 10 points if you get both of them. So 5 points per tyre. Difficult for us to see if the second one went. I definitely heard one go.
Chad, interesting to note also, we didn't see Steve just pull up and stop.
Unreal. What a great video there, Steve. So, now, this is where the real redemption really happened. It's when you won that Burnout Masters in 2017.
Yep.
Summernats 30. So how were you feeling going into that skid?
Going into the skid, super nervous. We had some really good skids earlier in that weekend. Most years that we've gone to Summernats, we always try and see if Summernats needs somebody one of their VIPs or something like that on a Thursday. We say it's a demo skid for Summernats, but we actually use it as a test skid. We play that to our advantage a little bit. The test skid on the Thursday, I had Asian from Street Outlaws in the car. Yep. Took him for a skid, went really well. Qualifying on the Saturday went really well. And then, it was just going into the skid. The car was running, couldn't be running any better. And then away we went. Everything went according to plan. I had a plan in my head which I wanted to achieve, to use as much of the pad as I could. Tried that, drive both ends, obviously make as much smoke, and achieved it. My passenger in the car on that day was my nephew Brad. Driving off the pad, I sort of said to him, there's not really much else that I could have done. It's in the hands of the judges, and whatever they think, it is what it is. And obviously, they loved it.
Yeah, look, that's a good comment, because my next question was going to be, how did you feel? Did you feel like you'd done really well? And then what was it like when you were announced the winner there and they all lifted you up? How'd you feel there?
Literally, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. It's going to be one of my moments in life. There's obviously some kid moments and wife moments that are obviously a little bit more special, but as an achievement, as a sport, money can't buy prize. A lot of people would say that you spend enough money on a burnout car, you'll win it. It's not the case. There's been a lot of people that have spent a lot more money than I have on burnout cars, and unfortunately, they haven't had the success for whatever reason. But, that moment when it was announced that I'd won it, it just felt like I was 10 foot tall, and those Gemini days weren't in existence.
How hungry are you for another one?
Not really, to be honest. I had a few things that I wanted to achieve, when we built the car as a family. My sons helped us, and, my nephew, and there's obviously a lot of people that helped us along the way.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get on the front cover of Street Machine magazine. That was one thing that we sort of wanted to achieve. We wanted to win a couple of bigger shows, which we did. We won UBC. We won over in Adelaide, a 10K comp. We wanted to win Summernats, whether it was the regular comp or the Masters. Regular comp's probably just as hard to win as the Masters, side of it. And now I've sort of taken a bit of a different direction, to be honest. As you'll hear later in this podcast from Mark, that the car's over in the States at the moment, so he'll fill everybody in on what's going there. But, it's sort of, I haven't lost the desire, but I've lost the desire because sometimes the amount of money that you spend on a car at that level is frightening.
But never say never, right?
Well, that's exactly right. Never say never. Because, I thought I was going to sell the car in the last 18 months. And now the car's sitting in the States in Long Beach. And obviously with the world problems at the moment, it's sort of unknown when it's going to happen. But, we've got some stuff, thanks to Mark and Heath from the Rod Shop and a few other people, for all the support that they're giving me at the moment. We've got Team Rod Shop going over to the States to do some stuff. So never say never, because if you asked me 12 months ago, would I have my car in the States doing skids, I would have said, I don't think so. It's going to sell and my skidding career is over.
Yeah. Interesting comment you made there. As I actually reckon most people have really only got one, maybe two cars in them, whether that be a show car, burnout car. So I just think it's the money. It's a whole lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
exactly right. And we've sort of to a certain degree, burnouts, I feel, and a lot of motorsports is a little bit selfish. It's sort of you get a lot of people put in the hard work, and you're the one that seems to get a little bit of the glory if you're fortunate enough to get it, where you're the driver and you're the sort of the front man for the whole box of dice. Yeah. And when a couple of years ago we decided as a family that we've just finished building a holiday house up on the river in Yarrawonga, so just diversifying a little bit. We bought a ski boat, so we're going to do a bit of skiing and a bit of fishing and that sort of stuff. So that's where it's at. But like you say never, because never's a long time. And I'm probably not the first person to say that I would. I still love being involved. I love the whole car scene. My boys have got a Gemini that sort of still needs a little bit of ironing out. I'd love to give him a hand with that. It's obviously not at the same level as what the Camaro is. It's got a small block Chev in it, with fuel injection on it. So, we can sort that out and just have a bit of fun on a different level and love to still get to a few shows.
Yeah, mate. Love to see you around. Obviously, you'll always be part of the scene. So, mate, I'll catch up with Mark shortly, and we'll have a chat about what's going on over there. And how can people follow you on your socials? How can they?
They can find me obviously on Facebook. Obviously Steve Nogas and Killer B page as well. I'll be honest, I'm in the age bracket that social media and that sort of stuff, and I wouldn't even know how to work Instagram, so I'm not a real sort of genius behind all that sort of stuff. But if you send me a message, and I'll see it after a couple of days, so I'm more than happy to respond. I'm not one of these people that has my phone glued to my hand and I'll see it in 5 minutes.
Don't worry. When we talk to Webby, we've got to send him a fax. He doesn't get emails.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, Josh.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I've still got a fax machine as well, so there's nothing wrong with that. But if someone likes some advice or have any questions, or just want to have a chat, I'm more than happy to have a chat. Even look up Crystal Limousines in Melbourne, Crystal with a K. Give me a call. My number's pretty easy to get. Have a chat, and love to. I'll go on. Like Mark will most likely mention that. YouTube channel for the Rod Shop, and catch up with us there.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. It's really great catching up, and you really are not that guy that was in that Gemini that time.
No, that was a different person, but just a wolf in sheep's clothing. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Stick around for the quiz show, Steve, and we'll
do.
Talk to you then. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. We're going to cut to an ad break.
Dad.
50 years. That is years and years and years of making the best air filters in the world. If you need a filter for your car, air filter, cabin filter, oil filter, go to knn.com or go to your local stockist. Superior airflow, superior performance, superior. Dad. Do you love your car? How much do you love your car? Proof that you love your car is if you look after it with the best car care products on the market. Maguire's. If you've spent thousands building your car, don't care for it with crap quality products. Look after it with the best. You should also use the best to keep yourself clean. Super thick and sudsing. Whee! See this? This is the best. The best! Are these ads over yet? Seriously.
All right. Welcome back. We are back. Here with us is Mark Waddington. Mark, I asked Nolsey last week how, in terms of the isolation, how keen he was to rip the front door off to get to the pub. How about yourself?
He's in the pub.
I'll just show you guys. We put our own pub in the shop here, so you may have seen on the YouTube channel, we put our own keganator in for the boys, our own barrel. Now, it is only for the workers, but they are delicious.
Fantastic. Great to catch up, Mark. Thanks for your time. I want to know what it was like for you as a young boy growing up in Castlemaine, obviously the street rod capital of Australia.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, my old man's always built top-end cars, and we were lucky enough to get the $50 paddock bombs to bash around the paddock beside it our whole life. So as we'd write one off, he'd buy another one just to get rid of us out of the shed and keep on building the top quality cars he always built.
And now you're doing that to him. You get him out of the shed.
Oh, as you know, Owen, I'll make up a story for anything to be picked up from California to Melbourne to anywhere. So if I can get him on the road, it's a good thing.
Yeah, mate. Look, he had a terrific business there, Waddington Street Rods. They built some great cars over the time. And one thing that a lot of people probably don't know is that he was building the bodies, the steel bodies, and then you had that business in the US. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, he's done a lot of export over his time. A lot of people that know my father know he'll dabble in anything, try anything. He's definitely not afraid to do that. So we export a lot of Model A bodies. They were leaving container loads at one stage, little closed cabs. Whether we made money or not, I don't know back in them days, but they were pouring out the door. So with that in hand, he needed a warehouse in California. So we got one going over there, and good friends of his, Reedy that owns SoCal Speed Shop, and a few of them guys at Vinteek that helped him out, and they had their own little hot rod shop going at one stage. But I mean, that was all in the past, but he's done a really, really good job, and contacts he's got in the hot rod world in America are amazing. So I mean, you know yourself, Owen, you know a lot of them guys, and you know they're all interlinked and they still talk. So
yeah, no, it was great. I used to catch up with him a bit, and he actually did. He knew heaps of people over there, had a great business. Mate, I just looking there behind you, I'm guessing that is the extensions on your business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so each year, I mean, me and my brother had the factory for 8 years now, so we just extend each year. We try and do a little bit over Christmas and work our way around. So behind me here, we've got our cars now. So obviously at the moment, the shop's pretty well shut for people to walk in. We're super busy over the phone. I mean, 4 guys went out again today. So, but once the coronavirus has been and gone, there's always cars in the background here. So we mix them up a little bit. Now the cars have gone to America. I've got a couple of my guys' cars in here. I've still got Barry's car there and a few of the other project cars behind me. So for anyone off the street wants to walk in here, it's normally a pretty busy little shop for a small country town. We draw a fair crowd. So we extend there, and then round the corner now the bar. Now the bar's there and the Daytona machine and everything for everyone to go into. Obviously we're not allowed to touch the beer tap, but it's all there for everyone to see.
Who's the gun on the Daytona machine?
Not me. I've got a 7 and a 9-year-old, and I don't think I've beaten either yet. Not one of them. So not me.
Mate, and you down on the bottom part there, you had the burnout pad. That's where it's no longer there. That's all factory now, isn't it? Warehouse.
No, we extended the warehouse right to the edge of it. So the burnout pad is still there, where Steve and the boys put on a show for me a few times. But there's a couple of neighbours down the road there. They got a little bit emotional with us. And I learned, Steve was there that day too, not to test a car on a Sunday when there's a church over the road.
Yes, I don't think we'll go into that. So, hey, mate, I've got a bit of a curly question for you. I asked Steve a similar question. So, if you don't want to give an answer, you've got to sing the Macarena for me. So, I want to know who you wouldn't want to have riding in shotgun in the Warbird with you, and why?
Well, I can't sing, so I'll come up with something. Craig is my manager. He's actually a really good guy behind the wheel. He's quite clever on the burnout pad, but he's been in my brother's Real Deal Tirana for 4 times. It's thrown the rods out 3 times and it got towed off in Brisbane. So Craig's now booted from there and he's never allowed in the Warbird.
There you go. Awesome. All right. So I want to know, you've got a great manufacturing business. You've got an awesome business there now. How did you guys end up in the whole burnout scene?
We started playing with a few toys, and I'm not saying it because the man's on air here. The scariest I've been in a car, or the biggest blood rush and heart pumping moment I've had, not behind the wheel, was a day over at Winton when I got to go in with Killer Bee. And Steve knew that I'd been in, drag cars and smaller version stuff. So I think he did try and scare the eyeballs off me. So he did whip me down the pad, and I said to Steve, how do we approach it in a car that puts out this much smoke? And he said, well, because you're building a car, you're going to need to know. We'll hold the wall here. We'll do this. We'll do that. We come off the pad. I don't know what happened. My eyes were shaking. My heart was pumping. And I'm like, I've got to have that. I cannot go through life without driving one of them cars myself. So we did come off the pad. His son abused him. His engine builder abused him for what he did. The way he did it, I remember the commotion in the pits, and I'm like, I cannot go through life without having a blown big block car. That's amazing. So of all the stuff I've ever done, like I said, I've only ever done slower classes in drag racing and a bit of other stuff, but that was the biggest blood rush. I'd do it any day of the week. Every time you go on that pad, it's awesome, especially when you've got that much power, that much noise, and the smoke.
That's interesting. And mate, I absolutely love Warbird. It was just, I obviously saw it through the build, and so Jack's got a video of you there skidding that. So Jack, roll that tape.
Oh. Hang on, text coming through. We don't have the video.
Used to have the video.
We're prepped and ready to go here.
Yeah.
Not worth watching.
No, it was. I thought it was the one for you from 32, so all good.
The best way to see it is get the Summernats, right? That's the way.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now I know what you've got some stuff going on in the future. So tell us they've got some pics going to put up of Warbird and Killer Bee and some containers there. So tell us what's happening over there.
All right, so for the last couple of years, we've been trying to get into America, and we've had major issues with insurance. The guys at Hoonigan give me the spot on the pad at SEMA the whole lot, but without insurance. And like, as we all know, if you go to that territory, you're straight in jail if something goes wrong. If it happens at Summernats, we're going to go through court and we'll sort that later on. So we tried our hardest. We couldn't get through it. So then Cletus sort of come on board and chopped us out. The Nogas team become awesome friends with him, which tied us in as all being part of Team Rod Shop. And with our contacts, my father's old hot rod contacts over there, it's been a nightmare, to be honest. When you've done the American thing with your businesses too, it's really hard work paperwork-wise. Yep. We've finally got insurance after 12 months. I probably could buy another small house in the middle of Melbourne for what it's going to cost us. But we had it all lined up. We were going to skid 3 of Cletus's shows. The guys at Hoonigan, we had them teed up. Our cars are going on display at SEMA. It's going to be the best year ever, but obviously we've had a little bit of a hiccup. So at the moment, rather than do this interview, myself, my brother and Steve Steve's son Benny is supposed to be over in the States at the moment with our show, I think next Saturday, the 18th. So unfortunately with the coronavirus, we missed out. We're a little bit behind schedule, but it's not going to get held up. The cars are sitting there. They get picked up tomorrow, actually, from Team Willwood. So them guys, another connection we've got there, which is our biggest probably seller we've got, is a Willwood Brakes. So they've got a 3-car transporter with a stacker and stuff on top. So they're going to go pick it up tomorrow and put it in a disclosed location, they tell us, because I think there's a couple of prestige cars there. So they're going to load them up tomorrow from the shipping yard down in Long Beach there and tuck them away. But the show's definitely going to go on. I'd say to be next year. We've got a 6-round series. Me and Steve have got a $100 bet on each competition, so that's $600 I can win off Steve. And if you can get money off a Nogas, you've done well, they say. So
exactly.
I'm not going to give that up. So so that's our plan. So it's Indianapolis, Florida, LA, Vegas, and Texas in Houston. So I think it's somewhere down there. So it's going to be massive.
And once everybody's allowed back out of the house and all the rest of it, things are just going to go nuts, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Like over there, you can see if anyone's seen some of the stuff Cletus is doing with that new track, and
yeah, brilliant.
The crowd he's going to draw in there is going to be next level. So he sort of said to us, "What's your plan when you come over?" And like, we're bringing 3 cars and we're going to put it on the loud pedal, and if it breaks, we fix it. That's how it works.
Yeah, mate, that's exciting. I mean, like people have been talking about for many years doing stuff like this in the States, and it's never really happened. But yeah, mate, it sounds like it's gonna go off now with you guys.
Well, look, I don't blame people for not doing it. For guys out there, like I said, I've had lawyers read it. It's been an expensive trip. There's no doubt about that. But if you get it wrong over there, being an international, we're being highly wanted. The guys at SoCal and Will and a few other guys. If you've come in international waters to do this stuff and it goes wrong, don't expect to go home. Like, it's plain and simple. So the insurance has been a massive thing. And like, none of us want to have a partner behind bars, do we? So we've got all that bit of it right, we think. So
good.
All ironed out, it should be really good.
Yeah, no, really exciting times, mate. So, all right. So, look, thanks for your time, and I want to know how people can keep up with you when it actually starts skidding over there, and all the rod shop and your US adventures. How can people keep in touch with you?
I'm like Steve. I'm behind the times on technology, but all my guys here, we're on the YouTube. We're on YouTube channel. We've got Facebook. We've got Instagram. We've got everything going on here. So we've got a massive following. And it's going really well. But everything we do from here on in will be on the YouTube stuff. So from getting on the plane to bouncing off the walls in America, it'll be all on there.
Yeah,
man, awesome.
I saw the photo of you guys sitting up on the Real Deal having a beer, so I thought, it's going to be a great trip, isn't it?
Yeah, there's many more of them to come.
All right, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mark. Stick around for the quiz, mate.
Cheers.
Well, no worries. We'll be back after these at...
With Haltech, you unlock the power. With everything from universal ECU kits, plug and play kits, to dashes, gauges, merchandise, and more. Have a look at this. Oh my gosh. Have a look at that. Buttons. Nice. Haltech.com. That's it. .com. Anest Iwater. What is that, you say? Listen, Anest Iwater brings to the Australian market a wide range of equipment for the spraying of liquid coatings. Nice. These may be for automotive uses, both at production and refinish levels. They can even supply equipment for the beauty and film industries where it is possible to spray makeup, airbrush fingernails, body art, and spray on imitation suntans. Because who wouldn't want to have a suntan, right? Yeah.
All right. You may know Barry from his time in AFL. He's a 2005 AFL Premiership winner with the Sydney Swans, which he was captain of the team at the time. You may know him from his recent boxing bout against NRL veteran Paul Gallen. But what you might not know is that Barry is actually a massive petrol head. Before we go into cars, though, Barry, can we just talk footy for a second? You played nearly 300 games for St Kilda, the Swans and the Bulldogs, and obviously you were the captain of the Swans in 2005 and winning a premiership. What are your best football memories?
Best football memories, obviously, premiership. It's something you play for, and it's something as a kid. I used to play for the Western Bulldogs, and they certainly didn't have success when I was a young fella. But I always dreamed of playing for the Western Bulldogs, holding up a premiership cup. You never think you'll ever get to do that, but to do that for the Sydney Swans after a 72-year drought was certainly a dream, and it's something that I sort of realise now how big it was. You don't realise at the time. It's how it affects other people, and the loyal supporters. As I said, 72-year drought's a long time. How it affects them is it's a big deal, absolutely big deal, and I don't realise that till sort of now. I sit back when I've retired.
Yeah. I guess to supporters that wait that long, no doubt, it means everything to them. I guess in a sense. Turn up to the
Absolutely.
game.
Absolutely. One thing I did do, which was a good activity, was after the grand final, we got a lot of fan mail, and I went, after having a lot of beers, the last month of winning the premiership, I went to a cafe and I had a big bag of letters, and I went through the whole lot and read them all. And some of the letters we got were really touching, from mainly older the older crowd of the old South Melbourne Bloods.
Yeah, the Bloods.
Some of the messages we got were really touching. So it's good to bring you back down to earth and know that all your hard work can sort of reap the rewards of those people who've been following you for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Do you still kick a footy around?
No, I don't. I don't anymore. The last game I played, I threw my boots away, so I wouldn't play again. Look, the mind is still young, but the body's certainly not. So chasing these young blokes around is tough work. And I never chased it at the best of times. So and these young blokes, they're cheeky and they start to yab at you and run away, and I couldn't be bothered catching them anymore. So I thought, let's just not play.
Yeah, fair play. I will say you did what every Queenslander and NRL fan that's not a Sharks fan always wanted to do, and that's put one on Gallen's chin. Just to ask you, though, getting your mind and body ready for that, what's the, run us through a little bit of that.
Yeah, look, that was a big deal. And it's something after my football career, all those physical challenges were gone, So
yeah.
I still played a bit of local footy, but, certainly nothing too serious. So to do that, I was offered the fight. I've been offered the fight a few times and I knocked it back. I was like, I'm too old and all that sort of stuff. And but I thought, let's do it. Why not? So despite what he says or what anyone else says, I got off the couch after I had an 8-week lead up to the fight, which is not very long. He obviously had 10 fights and done quite well. He won them all. It was my first fight at the age of 42. So, there were certainly some challenges that arose, but, in the end of the day, I thought I won the fight, first and foremost.
For sure, it was a great fight.
Yeah, and I wasn't actually happy the way I fought. I can give a lot more than what I gave that night. That's all about experience and pushing the fight a bit more when I should have and I didn't. That's all experience. And but in saying that, I was pretty happy to put out that performance in 8 weeks preparation at the age of 42.
Yeah, brilliant.
And to come away with a draw, I thought I won the fight. A lot of people thought I won the fight, but every boxer who's ever fought and lost think they won, but I don't want to be one of those guys.
You going to go around again, Ben, with him again, Barry?
The fight got offered, and I said yes, and it was just about money and where we go and which way we do it. He accepted as well, but he went cold on it, and then the Mark Hunt. So Mark Hunt's a UFC fighter who's retired.
Yep.
There was a fight proposed of Paul Gallen and Mark Hunt. So he obviously thought that's going to be bigger money. So he went quiet. And, that's what's happened. So we haven't heard anything since. There's some other fights for me lined up. It was meant to be in June, which is probably not going to happen now, obviously, and another one in November. So, there's some more fish in the pond to hook. And, we'll certainly get back in the ring again. But with Paul Gallen, I'm probably not sure it's going to happen with him.
Yeah, fair play. To get on the cars, Barry, you told me you're a massive petrol head, I guess, in terms of that's what one of your main big passions is. Where does that come from? Does that stem from something when you were a kid, or it's?
Yeah, my dad was a mechanic, and I grew up around cars. He had a HT 350 Bathurst Monaro, and he bought it brand new. He bought it for $3,500, I think it was, brand new. And I used to drive it on a Sunday, the old Sunday driver car, but I used to jump in the back and it had a bit of a note to it, and I used to just love it. Absolutely. He's still got the car now. And just from there, I used to love getting in the car. He was obviously a mechanic working from home. I used to just go out in the shed and just watch him, assemble engines and diffs and gearboxes, and, he did a bit of spray painting as well. And I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. So it just stemmed from that. My brother's a mechanic. I'm actually a qualified mechanic, believe it or not.
Yeah, wow.
I don't like to get dirty, so I've never swung the spanners as a job, obviously, because I play football. But, I'm a qualified mechanic myself. But, I just love cars. It's my number one passion. People think football was my first and foremost, but I played the game, but I didn't absolutely love it. I basically played it to fund my car enthusiast side of my life, which is might be a bit surprising to some people, but I'd much prefer to talk about cars and footy, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. Well, which brings me to my next question. From the images you sent me, I've counted about 6 cars. You want to give us a bit of a run through of the ones you got, and you know?
Yeah, well, I logged on tonight and I seen one in the background of Mark's.
Yeah.
The rod shop there. I actually forgot I had it. So I got a WB Ute in the background, which when Mark was on, people would have seen. Orange one. That's sort of a dedicated drag car. I went with the Ute because I'm an Aussie bogan at heart, and the old Aussie Ute suits me down to the ground. But I've got a 69 Camaro. That's a twin turbo small block.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that. Looks nice.
Yeah, HG Prem. It's got a 572 in it. I've got an XR Falcon. It's like a mock-up GT. And I've just got an LC Tirana with an SB2 in it. So I haven't actually even sat in the seat of that yet. We purchased that, and it's sat in storage. So we'll get that out of the shed very soon.
Yeah, fantastic. Barry, I saw a photo of you today and some of those pics that were sent through. Have you actually spray painting a HR? You still got that car?
No, I don't. That's a sore point. You shouldn't have brought that up, Owen. Like any young idiot, when I played football, I got a contract and got a bit of money in my hand. All I wanted was a newer car, a newish car. And the first car I was given was a HR Holden. And my dad gave me the car and said, if you restore this car, I'll give you a hand to the engine and all that sort of stuff. And needed painting and stuff like that. So we did that. We put a 9-inch in it. We put a Supra 5-speed like most people did back in the day. We put a camshaft, ported the head, all those sorts of things. And, the plan was to, obviously, on your P plates and all that, a V8, was to drive it until I was eligible to have a V8 and then put a small block Chev in it. So I was going to keep the car, but as I said, young and stupid, had a bit of money in my hand. I went and bought a new VR SS Commodore.
No way.
Which aren't worth $2,000 now. But
the whole 100. I don't know. They're probably going up. They're probably going up these days. Probably worth a whole 10.
Yeah, maybe 15. Holding going bust, but so I traded the car in on that, which is I know people are going to think I'm stupid, and don't worry, I beat myself up about it every day.
Mate, but more importantly, I want to know how that paint job turned out. I saw you with the gun in your hand. Come on, how was it?
Yeah, well, as you can see on the screen there, it certainly wasn't in a paint booth. It was out the backyard, spraying the undercoat. And I was an apprentice panel beater, which I only practiced for 1 year before I got drafted for football. Okay. So, I did all the bodywork myself. I took the car to be painted at the body shop that I was working at. So it came out quite well. I'm a big believer in all the cars I got is to keep them original paint. Obviously put some wheels and get it sitting nice and, hide everything under the bonnet if you can. But I love original paint on cars and that's what I did with the HR, the blue with the white roof. That's why I like them.
What's your first memory of going to Summernats, Barry?
First memory of going to Summernats, I just got that buzz when I walked in the gate. You hear an injected big block cars cruising around, and this is insane.
Then your eyes burn from methanol.
Absolutely, but I was like a kid in the candy shop. My first Summernats was with the Rod Shop boys. I went there, and I was lucky enough to be invited there by those guys, and it blew my mind. I heard a lot about it, but I was obviously had football obligations. I could never really go, and once I went there, I was like, man, what have I missed out on all these years? It's an insane show. It's one of the best car shows in Australia, obviously. But, I was like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah. I've seen you cruising around cutting laps in the Ute, I think it was last year. And you look like you're really enjoying yourself, that's for sure. Smiling from ear to ear as you get around and having a bit of fun, around everything like that.
Who wouldn't? It's a dream for most people to do that sort of stuff. And I'm lucky enough that I got to do it. It's very blessed.
I think even everybody as a spectator that goes to Summernats dreams of cutting laps around, and having a good time with their mates and all that sort of stuff. That's part of the dream, when you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We've got some footage, I believe. Jack's got some footage that he can roll of you in a draw off with Chip Foose. Tell us about that.
that was a good sit-up.
I got nervous when you said footage. I'm like, oh. This is not that bit of footage that everyone puts up. But
no.
Yeah, look, I used to love watching Chip Foos's shows, and I think he's a very talented guy. Obviously, he's very good on drawing and designs, and the way he does his cars is very tasteful. I just spoke about how I like to do my cars as original paint, and he's very much about the clean, low fat look, and very talented guy. And he's a nice fella. He's a really nice fella. I heard Steve Nogas talking about the West Coast Customs. I'm not sure of his last name, but Ryan, who owns it. These guys are big deals in the car world over there, and he's a really humble, genuine guy. Was quite happy to give up his time and have a chat, and so it's good to see those people in such a high position in the automotive industry in the States still be pretty humble like that.
It's really good, and I love the when you had the draw off with him. It was pretty good, but he couldn't kick a footy as good as you, could he?
Oh, did you see my drawing? It was like a 4-year-old did it, honestly. It was terrible.
It was awesome. It was good fun.
Sweet. We've got a bit of a sing it or say it, Baz. So if your song is When the Saints Go Marching In, would that be all right? That's your...
I've got a voice like an angel, so I'm not worried about singing songs.
There you go. All right. Sing it or say it. Who would you like to punch more, Paul Gallen or the first bloke to get the coronavirus? Cause all this pain.
Well, I think everyone in Australia would say Paul Gallen, wouldn't they?
Well, I'm a Dragons fan, so I've got no love for the Sharks. I can tell you that much.
Let's never get to do it again.
All right, thanks Barry for coming on for this podcast.
No, good on you, boys.
Really appreciate it. We'll get you to stick around for the high tech quiz in about 2 minutes after this break. Thanks, mate. We'll be back soon.
Good man.
Dad.
What is canna, you ask? I'm going to read this to you. Hang on. Canna is the Dutch expert in cultivating your favourite crops. Eh? The green stuff. I mean capsicums, tomatoes. Welcome to a new way of growing that is all about passion, love for plants, and achieving the best results in the easiest way. Canna. Whether it's capsicums, roses, broccoli, or anything else plant-based, eh? Visit canna.com.au. Hang on, I've got another bottle here. Brown stuff. Let's have a smell. The first to open this. Yeah, man.
There you go. All right, we're back. Baz, just before we get to this high-tech quiz show, I've got a question for you. Would you be willing to grow a mullet for next year's Summernats?
Hey, believe it or not, I haven't got any hair on my head because I choose to not have hair. Mate, if I let my hair grow, it grows wild. It's like a big afro. It's like a big blonde afro. So I probably could if I wanted to.
There you go. Well, the challenge is out, mate. fair play. All right, here's where the fun starts with our crazy high-tech quiz show. This is obviously our second go this week, and here's how it works. All you guys have a buzzer word. Mark, yours is Prius. Steve,
Princess
yours is
or Prius?
Prius. Steve, yours is Band for Life.
Band for Life. Okay, fair enough.
And Barry, yours is Gallen.
Okay.
You guys give us a bit of a test, make sure they're working. We just got to make,
Band for Life.
Gallen.
I love it.
Hey, this is perfect. High tech here. I'll ask 3 questions. First to buzz in obviously gets to answer first. And if nobody can answer, the next person to buzz in can take them. All right. You guys will be playing for some guys in the comments, and their names are, I've just got to ring through to our high tech guy. They are Gurney Eagle Falcon, Shane Fitzgerald, and Joanne. Let's just say Joanne. All right. So, Baz, you're playing for Gurney Eagle Falcon. Mark, you're playing for Shane Fitzgerald. And Steve, you're playing for Joanne.
And I apologise to Joanne now.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Ready.
First question. Who won this year's Burnout Masters at Summernats 33? Oh, Mark.
Rick Fuller.
You got it, mate.
Good man.
Hang on. All right. We had a buzzer, but it's not working. So let's get on first. All right. What car stopped production in Australia first? The Ford Falcon? Mark.
I was waiting for the rest of the question first. Get going.
He's out.
You got
you're out,
3 seconds.
Ford Falcon.
You got it right.
Oh, Jesus.
It's too
Rigged.
Hey, can you just check your buzzer there, Baz?
You're kidding yourself.
Grow a mullet, mate.
All right, the buzzer working now. We've got the buzzer. All right. What is this third question? How many times has Owen Webb been to Summernats?
Bad for life.
27.
Steve, I think you buzzed in there, mate.
Okay, there's been, I'm going to say 29.
Wrong. Who's next? That was you, Mark.
Yeah, Prius, 27.
Baz?
Sucks shit.
There's been 33 of them. There's been 33, Baz.
31.
Oh, come on.
All of them. all of them was too obvious.
Tell him, Owen.
5.
Tell him, Owen.
33.
33. The same year he bought that fax machine. We did have a bonus question. I'll throw it out there anyway, just for a bit of fun. What is the surname of the Sender guy with the mullet who attended Summernats 32?
Good question.
Is this a serious question?
It was just a throwing question. We don't have to do it. It's Larry Enticer.
Okay.
Good work, Larry.
Mark, obviously, you take away your winner was Shane Fitzgerald, right?
Yeah, Shane gets a free hoodie too, so give us a ring tomorrow, Shane. Make sure it's legit too. Actually, ring the Summernats and I'll get your details off.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna ring tomorrow. I'm getting a free hoodie tomorrow. Free hoodies for everybody.
Rod shop hoodie.
Ring through the rod shop. They'll give you a hoodie as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you call it Joanne. You get a T-shirt as well. Some stickers.
Yeah, I'll give you Barry Hall.
Do you want a front end?
The winner will also win a season pass to Summernats, but because we always just do it anyway, we're going to give everybody a season pass. Everybody that you guys are playing for will get a season pass. So with the season, those people that are watching on YouTube, please send us an email to podcast@summernats.com.au and we'll be in touch. Guys, thank you for participating in our high-tech game show.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Larry Edna.
We'll be back. Got a Holden, got a Ford, got a Chrysler. Do you have a sick VL, a Hectic, VK, a VB, a VC, a Mang VN, an XW, an XY, an XT, an XA, an XC, a Tory, a Rana? Yes, I know they're the same thing. Whatever you got. If it's rare spares do bits for it. So if you love bits and bobs and pieces and parts, visit their website for a full catalogue and more. More bits, more bobs, more parts, more pieces. All of it.
rsp.net.au.
Okay, welcome back. That was a bit of fun, Webby, right?
Yeah, fantastic. 3 great guys, and man, no wonder they all hang out together. They're going to have a lot of good time in the States, eh?
Oh, 100%, mate, 100%. It's time for our big competition. We had a bit of a winner from last week, obviously. You want to...
That's it for us. Yeah.
Take it away, Webbs.
See you later.
Yeah. All good. So last week's question was who was the 1996 Summernats Grand Champion? Now, he's won it 6 times, so I reckon it was a pretty fair chance somebody would have known that. It was Peter Fitzpatrick, or Fitzy, but he's holding it. Was the first version. It was when it was white and blue, and it's called Tough Enough. So that's the correct answer. And we did have a winner, and he got the rare spares about $50 voucher, and it was Tim Wise from Kembla Grange. So congratulations, Tim. Get hold of us, and we'll get you that voucher.
Nice. Thanks for your email, Tim, and giving us the correct answer. True story, Peter Fitzpatrick is actually coming on the show next week, right?
Yeah, that's good. So it's going to be a great interview with him too, and find out a lot of information about Grand Champion, and just he's got a car he's just built recently, been in the States as well. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, cool. And what about, we got next week's prize obviously to give away?
We have. So what I want to know for next week's question is, what is the highest horsepower ever recorded on the dyno at Summernats? And the winner for that, they will actually, in the hot tip for that, if you have a look or have a listen to you at the end, I reckon that guy might even be on the show next week. So, yeah, there you go.
The hot tip from Webby.
And the winner for that, well, they're going to get some brand new Maguire's products, some of the ceramic liquid wax. So if you think you know or you do know, send your answer to podcast@summernat.com.au.
Don't use any of the bottle, mate, if you got it there sitting there on the shelf. It's got for the winner, mate, all right?
Oh, mate, there's about that much gone out of it. It works awesome. What a product.
Rightio, here's when we look at a big moment in Summernats history. This time it's Australian legend, the late Peter Brock, driving the Roman Autotech Beast at Summernats on the burnout pad, smashing tyres like a champion. What a moment in history. At the time, the ute was super popular. I even remember having a poster of this thing on my wall for a time there. And Peter Brock, we don't need any explaining. Webby, tell us, you were there, obviously.
Yeah, it was. Look, it was amazing. Like last week, we had the World Burnout Championship. So there's so many big moments. So we just sort of looking back, and when you think there was no bigger name at that time in Australian motorsport than Peter Brock, to get him there, and he come and drove the Momo Commodore Ute, which was actually built by John Taverner, another fantastic guy who was associated with the Summernats, and it was owned by Bob Roman, again, a really good supporter of that event. But really interesting at there, I don't think Brocky had ever done, it was before all the race car drivers were doing burnouts at the end of when they won, and I don't think he'd ever really done a burnout. So he actually asked, I think it was Bob Roman's son, to jump in with him, and they did a bit of a skid. Brocky had a look and said, yeah, I reckon I can do this. So they changed seats, and Brocky done an awesome skid.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And the crowd just went crazy. They were just applauding like mad. So why don't we get Jack to roll that video?
We don't usually pay much attention to V8 Commodore utes, but Canberra's Summernats 12 was the final public burnout of the Roman Autotech Beast, and we were curious what all the fuss was about. Also on hand for the occasion, a novice driver with no previous burnout experience, Peter Brock.
What's his name?
Electing to observe first as a passenger, he seemed to learn quickly, then changed seats at the crowd's suggestion while they waited patiently for $6,000 worth of 20-inch tyres to go up in smoke. So he just hung on. As expected, a 700 horsepower alcohol-burning supercharged 8.2-litre Chevy V8 had no problem making a bit of smoke. Brock gave the impression he'd driven high-powered Commodores before.
Making a guest appearance, showing that he can do good things for you.
Even the track announcer was getting into it.
Brocky is really one of us.
Guess that means we're all retired motor racing champions.
Peter Brock, the most famous Australian motor racing icon of all time. On ya, Brocky.
Mate, how good was that? Crazy burnout, right?
Yeah, look, it's just unreal. Like I said, just to repeat myself, that there was no bigger person in Australian motorsport at the time, and he come there and he loved it. He talked to everybody, and just really, he said he really enjoyed the event. So
Peter Brock could pull a crowd at the he would have pulled a crowd at the library. It wouldn't have mattered, you know.
Absolutely.
You were there, Marv?
No, mate, I actually wasn't. I was reading Street Machine magazine at the time, and I just remember seeing the photo of this yellow and red ute. It had 18-inch wheels. That was crazy at that time. Like everyone had 15-inch wheels, and this thing was out there popping 18s, and it was just one of those moments in history at Summernats. I remember seeing when Gary Myers won the World Burnout Championship in the flamed Mustang. You know, it's another one of those moments in time.
We might get that one. That one might be up in the future. So
yeah, we're going to look at great Summernats moments like this every week. We want you to tell us your favourite Summernats moment, and all you have to do is email podcast@summernats.com.au. If we agree and we show it on the show, we'll send you a prize. All right, let's introduce him properly. We're all here with Marv. What's happening, mate?
Oh, man, I'm just falling down a wormhole of nostalgia. Like I was listening to the boys from Castlemaine Rod Shop, and literally in the latest issue of Street Machine magazine, there you go.
Wow,
there is them loading their cars into the container. So yeah, grab yourselves the latest issue. That's Charlie's 57 on the cover. Another cracking issue from a bunch of absolutely awesome blokes and Sheilas. Yeah, it's just like everyone's in the same boat. We're all sitting there in isolation, guys.
Yeah.
It's just, you've got car shows, you've got feature cars, you've got Steve Aldrich's workshop, XRU. Like, I've got to say, like, Steve's a mate of mine. Steve, if you're out there, like, if that's a workshop ute, I will eat my hat. That thing is, like, painted underneath. It's got this handmade teardrop bloody metal bonnet. That thing is a show car. How can you call it a workshop ute, mate? Jesus. But yeah,
was that a mini rant? Was that a
just, you know what? When your project car lives 90 minutes away from where you actually reside,
yeah,
everything becomes a rant. Because I'm sitting here, I love my wife, but she watches this like daytime TV, and I've got to say, like, I'm sitting here just tearing my hair out because all I want to do is grab a set of spanners and go tear an engine out, or do something. I've got to go get like covered in hub grease right now. I can't. It's 90 minutes away, and the New South Wales Police are going to fine me up the wazoo if I jump in the car.
Apparently, yeah, that's the way it is these days. But for the short term, that is for sure, only for the short term. You got to.
Hey, Marv. So just interesting to follow up from that Peter Brock moment. I just obviously you heard that I'd been there to 33 Summernats, so I'd seen a lot of different things. But one thing that really struck me when I looked at that video is how Summernats has always attracted really top cars. Way back in 88, Rick and Karen Dobberton bought the J2000 Pontiac out from the US. Well, that was really one of the top cars at the time. And then Joe and Carol Cusimano brought the Legacy, the 57 Chevy. I don't know whether you remember that. That was the top show car in the world. It went to Sweden and a few other places. And then, of course, Jack and Troy Trepanier came out and done some great stuff at Summernats. So always been able to attract really, really top people.
And not just one type of car. No, so you've got the Rick Dobbertons, and you've got the show cars, and you've got the elite of the elite. These things are painted underneath, and for anyone who's never been to Summernats who's watching this, I have to say that you need to get down here because these cars are unbelievable. They're undescribable. Underneath is polished and preened to perfection, and yet you have that, but then you also have the best burnout cars, and you have the best dyno cars. Not just dyno cars. Like we're talking about, like a couple of years ago we had the AC Delco Pro Slammer on the dyno in a shed. 3,000 horsepower car on a dyno. Turbos versus blowers. We're making over 3,000 horsepower.
Hey,
dynos.
Don't give my answer away. That was my question, remember?
No. I'm being coy. I'm being coy here, Webby. I'm being coy. Deliberately.
I will give a tip to the people though. We want the answer to there's 2 decimal points, I believe, in it.
Yes.
We need those too. So
anyone who's ever been to a dyno comp knows that it's not how many hundreds of horsepower you win by. It's how many tenths of a horsepower you win by.
Oh, that's the one.
Right.
That is the one. You want to rip away with your rant, mate? What do you got for us? I know you got something cooking. I could see steam coming out your ears.
Okay, so
pop those earphones out.
Okay, so I've been trying really hard. Isolation's hard. Everyone's in a tough spot. We're all trying to be good human beings, right? So you traipse around the internet and you're finding, oh, this guy built this car and this guy built that car, and it's all good, and you're like, everyone's having a great time and everyone's having a good, everyone's doing the best that they can, and then there's some flog that comes on midway through and goes, hashtag Barra the world, or hashtag LS the world. I don't care what engine you have, like just sit back. Be, as Kendrick Lamar says, be humble. Like, you can change an engine in a car, guys. If you've got a $180 MIG welder, you can take that engine out and you can put a different engine in. You can be the person with the only turbo Hemi powered Mitsubishi Starion in the world. It doesn't matter. No one cares that much about what engine you put in it. You don't need to have a T-shirt that says, "Oh, I love this engine, and I'm gonna marry it one day, and we're gonna run off and we're gonna have babies, and it's gonna be the best thing ever." No one cares. Okay, like big block, small block, Chinese block, it doesn't matter. Just step back and be cool. Like let people put whatever engine they want in whatever car. Like I don't care if you've got a Renault 12 powered by a turbo 426 Hemi. Like, rad, power to you. Like, go build stuff in the shed. Be productive. Just step back and you know what? If you're gonna argue points of engineering about an engine, have some kind of basis. Tell me about the metallurgy of the engine. Say that that 426 engine is complete horseshit because it's made out of recycled Chinese shit steel and it falls apart at 500 horsepower. Like, just give me something. Argue with me on a point of technicality if you're going to argue if you're going to argue engineering. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Like, am I completely out of order here? Like, I just feel like we're all going through a tough time. Tesla's knocking at the door. Car enthusiasts, we need to kind of give each other a bit of a group hug and kind of say, you know what, like, let's all build rad stuff. Doesn't matter if you're in a Chryslers or Renaults or Pontiacs or whatever kind of crazy car you're into. Let's all just kind of cheer each other on a little bit and get into the 21st century, not cut each other down. I think, hey, am I going completely crazy, Webby and J-Benz? Like, is it just me?
For real, mate. I remember.
No, but that's really interesting what you're saying there, because I remember way back even when all these people were putting Chev motors in Ford hot rods. And so, yeah, it's really interesting, how it hasn't changed in all those years.
Yeah, I've thought the same thing working at magazines back in the days and stuff. It's just it's just about the love, man, just get out there and...
Yeah, do what you want. Enjoy it.
I think a lot of people forget too, at the end of the day, what is really cool is one thing. I spent the US defense budget building a cool Pontiac, but if you want to go drive your car from Melbourne to Rockhampton up to, say, Rocky Nats,
there you go,
which is going to be a cool event coming up.
Tickets on sale 2021. If
you want to go drive your car across Australia, you really need something that you can get parts everywhere. Yeah. You can have complete faith in it, all that sort of stuff. So why wouldn't you go with the proven, tried and tested thing? So, maybe that's a Chev in a street rod, or maybe that's an LS in a Commodore or something like that.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter.
I think a lot of the people out there who have the biggest problem with this are the people driving their Hyundai i20s, their mum's Hyundai i20s to the events, and not sacking up and building their own car to actually turn up and enter the event.
Yeah.
I will say, I think that Hemi-powered Mitsubishi Starion sounds like something on Facebook Marketplace. I think that's got to do with...
Don't steal my idea, J-Benz. Don't steal my idea. I'm wise to you. I want to be the fastest, stock-cammed, single-railed 426 Hemi-powered Starion on 15 by 6.5-inch wheels at Heathcote this year.
I
reckon we can use some of that crazy energy there to give away some stuff. What do you reckon, Marv?
Oh, look, I got to say, I've been imbued with the power. I have a secret power to say that if your name is Rachel Kelly, you have won yourself not just a Street Machine merchandising pack, which is worth several dollars. It's got like T-shirts and hats and all sorts of rad stuff, but you also get 2 season passes to Summernats. So you are minted, Rachel Kelly. You are freshly minted. You have got swag and you have got entry to the coolest car show in Australia. Congratulations.
And we got 3 more single passes, right?
There was an allegation that someone was giving out single passes. I believe he was going by the name Andy. It was a kind of shady character who just flicked them at me, and he said to me that he said as he ran down the alleyway, he said Daniel Wilson, Rob Stone, and Jane Hendy scored themselves some free passes. So if you happen to have those names and you were watching the podcast, congratulations, because you have been plucked.
Correct. And all you need to do is email podcast@summernats.com.au. And thanks to Andy drinking a lot of wine, everybody gets passes everywhere.
Exactly.
It's who doesn't love a giveaway on a Tuesday? I mean,
yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Mate, it's been great having you on. I can see you enjoying that drink right there.
That's just a little bit of lift, you know. I'm trying to stay hydrated because my project car is 90 minutes away from where I live, and I haven't.
I know. You've told us.
Okay, well, Webby, can you have a chat to the New South Wales Highway Patrol, because I don't want to risk that. I don't want to risk that fine.
No problem.
That's the big barrier method to me actually going and working on my car. I'm a little bit jealous that you got work done on yours.
Absolutely. All good.
Just to put out there, we've had I've been told by Jack, who's doing all the producing, that there's a lady by the name of Joanne who I think won the pass before from the crazy quiz show that we run. She'd like to have a shout out. It says, before we go tonight, it's her daughter's Savannah's 10th birthday today.
Awesome.
Could we give her a shout out? Well, happy birthday, Savannah.
Hey, Savannah.
Happy birthday, Savannah.
Apparently she sent through some pics that we can show and stuff from Summernats 31 to the Facebook page later on. And that would make her day. Well, happy birthday, Savannah. That's also my daughter's name, so there you go.
Fantastic. Awesome.
That's
perfect.
Well, have a great night, guys. I'm actually going to escape out the back to go work on my car and brew up another rant, no doubt.
No doubt, mate. Well, I was going to say you're going to give us a teaser of next week's rant. Maybe we'll keep it under wraps, all right?
I can already say I have to crawl underneath my car and weld upside down. So anybody who's MIG welded upside down and had sparks fall into the pit of their armpit, they're going to know exactly where I'm going to be coming from next week.
I was once, my mate was, we had a VB253 manual 4-speed, anyway, Commodore, and he was undoing, I was helping him change the diff. And he just undone the last tail shaft bolt, and it come down and struck him right on the tooth and snapped it enough. And he just looked at me and then talked to me with a whistle after that. Yeah, that's it. I felt so bad. I felt so bad for him. All right. Thanks Mark.
Thanks, Mars.
Legend,
See you guys later.
Legend, mate. Thanks, mate. Owen, what's happening, mate?
Well, I actually tonight was really good. Look, it's always enjoyable. We were great. It was good, and as I knew he would be, and of course Steve and Mark, and they're going to have a great time in the States.
Oh, 100%. Well, the stories those guys, we could have had 5-hour podcasts listening to those guys.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's funny. They went a bit longer, but I still felt like we cut them short. There was a lot of information flowing there. So.
Yeah, you could just talk, and I could just listen, and we could ask questions for weeks. You know.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's been definitely great to talk to everybody, and the feedback so far for the podcast, Webby, has been positive. I've been waiting. Yeah. I've been looking to the right and to the left to wait for the end of the umbrella handle to hook me out, and but we're still here. We're really appreciating everybody watching at home and watching after, and you can obviously enjoy it as an audio cast, which is on podcast.summernats.com.au. That's awesome. All right, before we go, sorry, what were you going to say, Webby?
No, I was just going to say it's good. And look, people just got to take it for what it is. It's a bit of information. It's a bit of fun in this time when everybody's locked down, and hopefully we get a bit of information out there as we're going to follow up with right now.
Correct. That's right. So before we go, we just want to say we want to see everybody's picks in their garage. You're on the weekend. Obviously, you're not going out doing cruising and stuff at the moment. We can't do that. So we want to see everybody hashtag write it out, what they're up to while you're writing it out. So here's a picture we received during the week. It's from Chris. He says, "Hi guys, loved the podcast last week. Looking forward to it again this week," which is today. Here's what I've been working on. I've just got a new 3.5-inch exhaust, new Simmons wheels, and a rebuilt motor, all gone in the last 2 months. Cheers, Chris. That's cool, eh, Webby? People are...
Yeah, it's really good. That's in that. Please, guys, just send them in, or guys and girls, send your photos in.
Doesn't matter condition of the car, anything you're passionate about your car. Could be Mum's Magna, doesn't even matter. Whatever, send it through. Awesome. And make sure you send those to podcast@summernats.com.au. And even if we don't put them on the show, we'll put them on Facebook or put them on the gram, or Webby can fax it to himself or something like that.
That joke's getting stale now, mate.
I was just thinking myself in my head before I said that. That's how it's ride, that joke.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Webby,
I don't even have a fax.
I'm going to buy one. We've got 4 events coming up, obviously, in the near future.
We have, mate, and look, interesting enough, I just sort of had to think through what we do here, and I reckon each week we'll feature I'll just go through the list and just look at an interesting car or a person or something, and we can give a shout out to one of the entrants. So first up, Red Summernats, which will be on later this year. When we confirm the dates, we'll let you know that. We've got entrant 207, which is Paul Tinney. He's got a shop, a body shop in Darwin, and he's had several cars in the top 10 down there at Red Summernats. And this year, I just looked through, and he's got this bare metal XP coupe with a V10 engine. So, man, I am so looking forward to seeing that car finish for Alice. So get into it, Paul. I want to see it all finished, and I'm sure it'll be another top 10 car. And then we move on to MotorX, which was the last weekend in November. Again, a little bit different format. Going to be an awesome event. So there we got Anthony Caruana's grey XD Falcon, another great car, and he's entrant number 1. So look, we
there you go.
Give him a shout out tonight. Third one will be Summernats, which is entrant number 164, and that's Trudy Manning. She's got a 1970 British Racing Green Dodge pickup. So I just wanted to show a real good variety, obviously, and pickups is so popular. And last year at Summernats, there was so many good.
There was heaps, hey? Heaps.
Yeah. C10s and all that stuff. But I thought this was pretty trick of Trudy's in the Dodge, so it was really good. And finally, there for Rocky Nats next Easter, having a bit of look through there, and something that really tickled my fancy today was the entrant number 49, Chris Coit, in the lime green 73 Dodge Challenger. And I just love those US muscle cars. Yeah, really love that. So, mate, everybody there, keep those entries coming in for all the events, and you never know, it might be you that we feature next week.
Absolutely. Don't forget, Summernats 2021 tickets are on sale now, and obviously tickets and entries are on sale. I can't certainly wait to get to January. I might have to try and pick up one of those free passes myself in the comments to try and get in there for sure. On a serious note, again, we want to say while we're all locked away, reach out to your mates. Start talking like this, as you said, Webby, at the start.
Yeah,
made all the difference, mate.
Yeah, it did. It was something that was. It's probably because I'm so busy in my life, and I never really take that time, and really hit home what you said last week. And so I did this week, and it was really good. And one more thing, just before we go, I want to give a shout out to Jake Myers, who was on last week. It's his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Sicko.
Happy birthday, Jake. Jake had a great old chat with his chinwag last week. It was great.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. If you want to see that episode, make sure you can click back in through YouTube or through all the audio places where podcasts live. All right, that's pretty much it for episode 2, Webby.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Josh. And everybody was on. It was really good.
Perfect. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, please click subscribe. If you enjoyed this podcast, even if you didn't like it, please click subscribe and give us a like. And we'll see you.
Coming up on podcast 3, horsepower record breaker Dale Hyler, Mark Hinchelwood with the AC Delco door slammer, more rants and giveaways from Marv, and multi-time Summernats Grand Champion Peter Fitzpatrick. Webby and I will see you next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m.